It's time for On Point, where we speak to experts to delve deeper into some of the key issues in the spotlight right now. The South Korean won has been falling against the US dollar, with figures reaching their lowest point in 13 years. This is largely due to tightened monetary policy from the US Federal Reserve.
That's right, and the Fed plans on continuing this aggressive policy to tame current inflation levels. So how will this affect South Korea's economy, and what can the country do to resolve the situation? For more, we have Professor Shim Myung-kyu of Yonsei University with us today. A very good morning to you, Professor. So now, what effect is this going to have on South Korea's economy? Now, it looks like the KOSPI dropped as a result of the weakening won. So do you think the inflation situation here in the country is going to worsen?
Yeah, first of all, yes, I also expect that the KOSPI index will drop today due to the negative news from the external meeting. In terms of inflation, yes, again, the Fed tends to keep tight monetary policy might have a negative effect on the inflation rate in South Korea. This is because depreciation of Korean won means that the prices of imported goods will become higher even without changes in their production costs. According to the official statistics, the growth rate of import price has grown by about 20% from a year ago, outpacing that of export price. Using the report by the BOK, about 10% depreciation of Korean won would raise CPI by 0.06 percentage point on additional threat on inflation situation in South Korea. This will raise a concern on the household debt, as the BOK will also keep the pace by increasing the policy rate as well.
Right, and in a basic sense though, if the Korean won falls, we can expect increased exports, as it will be cheaper for foreign countries to buy South Korean products. Is this what we are seeing right now?
In theory, the answer is yes, as the depreciation of Korean won increases price competitiveness of exported goods. However, given that the current situation comes from strong US dollar due to interest rate hike in the US rather than weak Korean won, I'm not sure if this is a good news for South Korea, as it might not improve the price competitiveness relative to our competitors. For example, yen and euro has lost their values against dollar more than Korean won. Chinese yuan has lost its value against US dollar as well. So these countries are all our competitors in the global market, and it may not be true that the price competitiveness relative to other countries would improve. In addition, most of the exported goods in South Korea use imported intermediate goods. According to a report by Korea Enterprises Federation, about 50% of imported goods are intermediate goods, meaning that the current situation might not be a good news for exporting firms due to the additional cost pressure.
Then what can South Korea really do to stabilize the currency exchange rate?
As is already commented by the governor of the BOK, Chung Young-ri, I don't know if there is any room for policy or need to stabilize the exchange rate, except keeping the tight monetary policy by the BOK. Currency swap, for example, between Korea and the US might not work, as euro has lost its value more. Even the euro area has a currency swap with the US. International reserve in Korea has been steadily high over the past years. Also, active intervention of the BOK or the government would not work, as it seems that the source of the current situation is greater demand for dollar because of the high interest rate in the US. Hence, I totally agree with the governor in the sense that the BOK should keep up with the Fed by steadily increasing the rate so that the interest spread between the two countries would not become that large.
Right, and going back to one of your points that other currencies also lost their power over dollar. The euro for the first time fell below $1 recently as well, and other currencies are getting hit. How are they reacting to this situation?
Yeah, as you just noted, and I have already hinted in my previous comments, weak domestic currency is not the only problem of South Korea. EU, UK, China, and Japan, major players in the world economy, have shared the same experiences. For instance, EU has lost its value against dollars so that the exchange rate is the lowest in the last 2 decades. Two major exceptions are Russia and Brazil, whose interest rates have tremendously increased during the last year. It seems that most of the countries respond to the current situation by increasing the policy rate, as we do in South Korea. And I think this is the kind of the natural response, since such a policy can achieve two goals: mitigating concerns for inflation as well as the exchange rate. Two major exceptions are China and Japan, which tend to ease the monetary policy to stimulate the economy and to boost up the inflation rate.
I see. Well, this is where we must leave the interview today. But thank you so much for being with us this morning, Professor, and we hope to speak to you again soon.
Thank you.